Books about asylum seekers. The United Kingdom government has decided that they will be trying to introduce a law that, by their own admission, likely breaks human rights laws and international law in an attempt to appease certain aspects of the British public who have an issue with asylum seekers. This is an attempt by the UK government to try and scrape a victory in the next election, which is in a year's time. This is because they know on economic policy, on healthcare policy, on any other policy, they will lose to a Labour government opposition, which frankly is pretty weak in its support and its messaging. But the UK government knows they will lose the next election. So what are they doing? They're going to target a minority group, and they're doing this with several minority groups, to be frank, including transgender people. The UK government are positioning asylum seekers as illegal. They're positioning them as evil devils who are destroying this country, when the Conservative government themselves have been the ones doing that for the past 13 years. And unfortunately, there are swathes of the British public who believe in this. There are swathes of the British public who demonise and viscerally hate people who, by the government's own statistics, are legitimately fleeing war, persecution, famine, natural disaster. And so, I just wanted to give you some books to read about these people, to understand these people, to understand where these people are from and who these people are. Usually I put the link to buy the book in the description down below. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put links to charities down below, which you can check out and hopefully help donate and help asylum seekers. Because over the past few days, my faith in people has been greatly diminished because they are either selfish or have very easily fallen into this cycle of propaganda. But let's talk about the books, and again, links to charities will be down below. The first book is Sea Prayer by Khaled Hosseini. It is a book I've already spoken about, and it is a illustrated story about a father telling his son it'll be okay, their journey out of Syria to seek asylum. He talks about his son, about what Syria was like before the bloodshed and the war. He talks to him about the things that they were both scared of during the fighting. He talks to his son about how the journey may be scary, but he's there for him. He talks about how, it's better that you're going to see dried blood than fresh blood, because, someone's not died recently. He tells his son that the mother is in a better place. He tells his son that people on the other side might not like him because of simply where he was born. And it was really moving, and it's really touching, and it's beautifully illustrated as well. I am not the usual reader of a Khaled Hosseini book, but this one is one I just think you should buy. And also, I believe at least £1 of the purchased sale price for these books go towards the UN Human Rights Council and the Refugee Council from the UN. Speaking of the UN, I want to recommend people reading and getting a copy of the United Nations Human Rights Convention, something that people don't really seem to have read or understand because they use arguments that contradict the actual Refugee Convention to try and diminish the rights of asylum seekers and refugees. They try and say things that directly contrast what is written, something that multiple countries came together after the biggest bloodshed we had seen in our history to that point, at least in the modern time. They came together and said, let's not allow this to happen again. Let's help people who have been displaced and hurt and persecuted. Let's do that. It's one of the few things where large swathes of people across this world have come together and decided, let's do something for good. And there are so many people who don't know what that is. And there are so many people who haven't read it and will misquote it and misunderstand it in an attempt to diminish the rights of the people it is meant to help. That's why I think you should own or read a copy of the UN Human Rights Convention, because frankly, a lot of people need it right now. The Boy at the Back of the Class by Anjali Rauf. This book is a children's book and it's beautifully illustrated as well. And it teaches people about, well, kids, about kindness and respect and understanding, something that a lot of adults right now just don't have. It teaches these children that, oh, that little boy who's, you know, he's a little bit different. Why is he sad? Why does he not fit quite in? Where is he from? It teaches them to be kind and nice to people. It shows them to engage with others. It's something, frankly, I think generations did not understand or were not taught in a society that became increasingly individualistic, at least here in the West. People didn't care about others. And this sounds like me being a bit of a boomer, but it's something that was lost. People became so individualistic. They became so tribalist. They don't care about people who aren't like them. It's proven by the kind of people who despise asylum seekers. And this book is actually an attempt to counteract that, to actually teach young people, oh, no, why would I just hate this person because they're not like me? Because they don't look like me, they're not from where I'm from, they came here under circumstances I don't fully understand. And if you've got children, or even just for yourself, buy this because, or at least read it, because it will teach young people a good lesson, it will teach you perhaps a good lesson. It's sad that I need to tell people to read something about just being a good person, but read it. The Good Immigrant, compiled by Nikesh Shukla. This is the UK version of The Good Immigrant. I know they released a US version a few years later, but I only really know about the UK version. The UK version isn't just about asylum seekers and refugees. It's about, well, it's a compilation of essays by prominent black and brown BAME figures in the UK, and how they see and perceive and live within a world where immigrants are viewed differently, are viewed as other, that only certain immigrants are the ones that they like in the UK, the ones that should be here. You know, there are undeserving refugees, maybe because they're men, maybe because they are from a country where people don't understand the socio-political climate of that country. It's about black people in the UK whose families came in the Windrush generation, who have lived in neighbourhoods that have been overly policed and underfunded. And why are these black people in the UK like this? Well, it tells you why potentially this situation has led to certain black people ending up in this situation. It's a very interesting read. There's a lot of good essays in there. It's not the most, you know, the discussions there aren't the most, you know, out of this world left-wing discussions, you know, the loony left. No, these are pretty, like, common sense things that are said. So yeah, check out The Good Immigrant. I know there is a US version, but I've not read that, so I can't speak about that. And my final and fifth recommendation, although there are so many books I could talk about, is Exit West by Mohsen Hamid. I have a iffy relationship with Mohsen Hamid's works. There are some that I think are interesting and some that I think are just blasé and not interesting. But this is one where the premise and concept is very interesting. It's very touching and heartfelt. Sometimes the execution of Mohsen Hamid books aren't the best, in my opinion. And there are certain things that I don't love about the book as a book, but as a story of asylum seekers and refugees, people facing war, facing persecution, love in those circumstances, you know, something that's very real. Like, again, in the West, we dehumanize asylum seekers and refugees so much. We dehumanize these people facing war because of various reasons. But these are people at the end of the day. The people blanket call every single one of them criminals. They call them evil. They call them thieves. These are people. Will there be some thieves amongst them? Perhaps, but are there no thieves amongst us generally in society? Are some of them potentially bad people? Yes, but are there no bad people among us in society in general? And this shows you these are human beings that have emotions, that have fears, that have love, that get scared, that have to flee, that have to run. And that's what this book is about. And it actually humanizes, in a sense, people who have been dehumanized by politicians, by companies, by people, by the public. And this book actually talks about them like they're human. So those are some books about asylum seekers that you should read. And again, in the description, there will be links to charities for you to donate to. And I just want to end this on a note which, yes, it's going to be political. So, jump to the end screen if you just only want to see the books. But it is abhorrent. It is disgusting that these people are being used as political chess pieces, as political propaganda, so certain individuals can retain to a modicum of fleeting power that they have. Because these people will direct hate towards this minority group. It is something that we as a society had convinced ourselves we left in the 1940s. Something that us here in the West, this beautiful paragon of freedom and development, that we apparently left this prejudice and this hatred in the 1940s. Maybe we left it with Franco, maybe we left it with Mussolini, maybe we left it with all the other dictators that came after 1940, but never where we are. Never in this shining paragon of the United Kingdom. This empire which spread peace and progression to the world. No, we could never do something like that here. And we are. And it's not just the Conservative government that's doing this. The opposition party are starting to lean into this because they know there has been growing unrest in this country, growing anger in this country, which is justified, but it is wrongly targeted. There is growing anger towards the government. There's growing anger to how people are being treated by the government, by how they have no money, by how they can't afford food, by how they can't afford their bills. And what's the solution to this? Oh, it's those minorities' fault. It's those people coming here on boats because we gave them no other option to get here. Oh, one of them committed a crime? They're all evil. Let's keep them all out. Oh, one of them did something abhorrent, and yes, it is abhorrent. They're all abhorrent. They are all lesser than you. Yeah, vote for us. We will stop any of them ever coming here. We will stop helping any of these people. Oh, they're being smuggled because we have no other option for them to come here. We're doing this for them. It is for them that we are restricting their human rights. It is for their benefit that we are calling them an invasion. It is for their benefit that we are dehumanizing them. That's what's happening in the United Kingdom. And yeah, I suggested 5 books for you to read, and reading those 5 books may not change anything about what's happening, but maybe it will teach you about what it's like to be these people. Maybe if you're on the fence and you're watching this, maybe you're commenting right now just obscene stuff about me, because that's what's happened already to me. Because I dare say, let's not dehumanize these people. You could be commenting right now the most heinous rubbish about me right now. Maybe reading these books will change your mind. Maybe reading these books will make you consider, oh, you know what? Maybe all these people aren't evil. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you will give your child one of these books that are for younger people, and maybe they will grow up to not give into this hatred so easily. Maybe in 30 years' time, this video will have made an impact. That's what I hope. these videos don't reach a lot of people, but if they can, if any one of them will, I hope and I pray it is this one. Because asylum seekers are humans. Yeah, some of them may do bad things, but someone down your street might have done a bad thing. That doesn't mean everyone on your street is bad. Some of them may be coming here on spurious, methods, on unknown reasons. But does that mean all of them are? Are certain groups all monoliths? Please think about this. If you agree with me or you do not, just think about this. Because treating humans the way we do in the UK, treating human lives like a game the way we are doing in the UK, it can only lead to more terrible and disgusting things happening. And sadly, we are seeing that creeping up all across the world. And I don't want to ever grow up. Well, I'm already an adult. I don't want to ever experience the things that my grandparents' generation went through. I don't want to experience the things that my parents' generation went through in other countries. I don't want that to ever happen again. I don't want it to ever continue happening here. I don't want it to happen anywhere. And you shouldn't either. And that's been my very long diatribe at the end of the video. But, you know the usual YouTube stuff. Go to the links and donate if you can. Yeah.